Interesting.
And we are live.
Awesome.
So tonight I am lucky enough to be sitting with two lookouts. Got Tyrel and Sam. Tyrel is lookout for Tepee, my man here, and Sam is Sula Peak lookout. And originally it was just going to be me and Sam, possibly Graham. So pretty stoked to have you here, Tyrel, man. Nice surprise.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, glad to be here with you boys. That's for sure. The setup's a little wonky, but we'll get it figured out.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, Tyrel, how long you been a lookout at Tepee?
This will be my fourth season as lookout.
Fourth season.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, man. Awesome. And then this is your first
It's my first year. It's my first week.
first week in the lookout, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. But you both had prior fire experience before you became lookouts, correct?
correct.
Yeah. We both worked down at the Sula hand crew for a couple of years.
Oh, awesome, man. That is awesome. Check this volume real quick. And then before I forget, we have a beautiful sunset going on behind us. Bitterroot Mountain's here, and it's kind of hard to see it, but Medicine Point Lookout is right over there. So got a pretty cool view, pretty cool backset for this podcast. And I guess before we get too far too, is we're actually in Sula Peak Lookout doing a podcast with the Sula Peak Lookout and the Tepee Lookout, like I mentioned earlier. And beautiful spot, one of the only lookouts I know that has power, so kind of worked out good that way too. And then you guys both have prior service, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so Sam was in the Army and I was in the Navy.
Oh,
Yep.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys end up meeting then?
We met down at the hand crew.
Oh,
yeah.
really? You guys are both on the hand crew together.
Yeah. So I started in 2015. That was my rookie year, and then Sam showed up in 2016, right after he got out.
Oh, nice. Wait, what year did you say again?
2015.
2015? Oh, nice, man. It was a good year. It was a big year of fire for sure.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And then I showed up in 2016, and it was boring.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm trying to remember 2016. I don't
We
even
had a couple incidents, but nothing.
We did, yeah. We had what was a big year of fire on district here in the Bitterroot.
Yeah.
So they kind of held us back quite a bit that year. We didn't get to go out a whole lot, but once it blew up here, it blew up pretty big.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, and it kind of took that season, if I can remember, it took a little while. I was actually taking the detail to Whitehall. That's why it took me a minute to put together through an engine boss training. And I ended up out in Miles City quite a bit because Miles City was going off pretty good. So
That's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the best places to fight fire.
it really is, man.
Running and gunning.
Yeah, actually Billings, sorry, not Miles City. But I ended up on a couple fires in Miles City too. But yeah, that BLM country is the best. Like you're saying, you get on these big fires, running gun, like you were saying, and then it's amazing. You put it to bed in a couple days, and it's like, okay, for the next one, like could have been a couple thousand acres, but it's grass. So
Yeah. It's super different from out here where there's a whole lot of mopping up and gridding and whatnot. Yeah, out there it's just dozer it and put it out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and dozers are always on standby, and if you guys help me out with this too, like I got a few comments just like not being specific enough. So like gridding and mopping up out here, like Tyrel was saying, is more like we have trees and just different components. So heavier fuels, I guess is the word I'm trying to say. And so mopping up is the act of actually getting the fire a little more contained. Like it's contained, but you're trying to put it out by mop up. So typically with the engine and digging, in the dirt and
My favorite activity,
snakes.
cold trailing.
Cold trailing, see, that's good, and that's kind of where I was going for too. And if you could kind of explain a little bit of cold trailing.
So cold trailing is the act of physically going through your line. So you've put line on the ground to stop the fire spread. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys.
No, you got it.
You're going to physically go through there and with your hands touch the ground as long. You just go down your entire line, usually in a grid.
Yeah.
And you make sure nothing's hot.
Yep.
And it's a chore.
Yeah, absolutely right, man. And then they do a one chain in, two chain. Like typically, the first day of mop up is one chain in, and then you're gridding and cold trailing, and then one chain for folks who don't know is 66 feet, if I'm correct, right, fellas? Nice. And I believe that origin is from a logging chain is 66 feet long, so that's why one chain 66 feet, same length as a logging chain back in the day.
I believe they used that link to also map the country when we first got here.
Oh, I think you're right, dude. Like the survey is, right?
Yeah, township and ranges are measured off of chains, which is gross and ridiculous. But
could you imagine that? Six feet at a time.
Being that poor guy, yeah. Hey, carry this chain down that hill. Yeah, I know it's steep. Just we need to figure it out the line.
Yeah,
have at it.
Talk about hardier people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out that way. I mean, accurate too. I mean, crazy accurate.
It's just a cliff.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Gotta get that topography right.
Yeah.
And then, so how'd you become the Sula Peak lookout? Going
So
from fire to this.
I took a couple years hiatus. I was looking to get a promotion to somewhere else, and kind of spur of the moment, I decided to go back to school
Yeah.
and just shut everything fire down. Started going back to school. The pandemic hit, and I've always been in contact with the Sula crew after I left. And this year, I talked to Bogan and was like, "Hey, man, I heard no one's coming up to Sula Peak. I have summer free these days.
Yeah.
How about me at Sula?" And he's like, "Yep, we're doing it."
Awesome, man. Yeah, because talking to Griff earlier on, like when I first got hired, it seemed like they're still, or maybe right before. No, when I got hired, but before I came on, they were like, still kind of wondering who was coming. And I remember I asked about you because I wasn't sure if you're going to be around because I had heard, through the grapevine and through Eduardo at Dispatch that you're a pretty cool cat and like lots of experience. So I was like, yeah, man, and being younger fella and having more experience and probably being younger, being a little more willing to be on a podcast because I don't know if some of the lookouts really are up on their podcast.
Yeah, they're a little anti-technology sometimes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, what would you say the average age is of lookouts in this region?
Oh, probably like somewhere between 45 and 50. And that's being a little on the younger side, I would say. Like some of them, you're up to like mid 50s and 60s, and some of them even 7 years old. Yeah, like there were a couple of the guys who always lookout that we St. Mary's lookout for some of those folks who only staff it for 2 weeks at a time. Yeah, some of those guys are in their 70s.
Yeah.
Good retirement job though.
Yeah, excellent retirement job. Like the folks out in Spot Mountain, they're married and been out there for quite a few years now, I think, and sounds like they're kind of living the dream. I was just trying to plug in the headphones to that line out, but what I found out is it's actually like for an extra microphone, I believe, because all of a sudden it totally cut the sound off. So,
oh no,
sorry to anyone who might be listening if you missed a little bit of that, but. What Tyrel was essentially saying was just it's a great retirement gig. I mean, you're not making much, and some of them are just volunteers even. But man, you can't ask. You're getting like the kind of typical saying is you're getting paid in sunsets.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, absolutely.
You couldn't get a more beautiful front yard. It's something else.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I actually was lucky enough to be able to propose to my now wife, fiance, in Medicine Point, and I mean it was last fall, so it's like. I mean, you couldn't ask for a more beautiful, at least in my opinion, because I'm an outdoors guy, a beautiful scene. Like, caught it, a little before sunset, like, was able to get on a knee by the firefinder. What's the actual name for the firefinder?
Oh, the Alidade?
The Alidade, yeah. So, she was busy looking at the map. My leg was busy going to sleep while I was waiting for her.
When is she going to turn around?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm like, I don't want to bump her on this. I want to surprise her, but man, I can't feel my toes. But it was amazing. Yeah. So like, got the, she said yes, thankfully, and then, put the ring on and like caught the sun. I mean, we're like level with the sun and up in the lookout. And so that just came through and caught the rings, took some cool photos. And then, whipped up some hot chocolate and hang out on the catwalk and got to watch the sunset. And then, man, I mean, it was insane. Like, as the sun started going down, almost a little bit lighter than what it is right now, and the elk just started going off. All these bulls just bugling. It was amazing. So just fortunate to have these out in the West. So, for folks who maybe don't have the opportunity or don't have these in their backyard like we do, God, I'm gonna mess this up. I better look it up. I think it's reservation.gov, right? You can rent lookouts.
No, man, wouldn't know, but yeah, that sounds about right.
Site, but you can rent.
And
lookouts.
if you are going to rent the lookouts, you have to rent them like pretty much as soon as the billets open up, or they get booked pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly, Tyrell, and it's actually recreation.gov.
Oh,
there's an app for it too, so that's what I was kind of showing on my phone. But
there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, like just like these guys are saying, like be early because people are waiting, and there's only there's quite a few lookouts, but there's only they get booked up pretty fast, I guess, and in the big scheme of things, there's only a handful really.
Yeah, they're popular because, they're really affordable. What, $30-$50 a night, somewhere in that range?
Yeah.
And just, gorgeous. And people just love staying up there.
Yeah, man. There's a really cool photo that I tripped on a few years ago when I was looking for, I think, Hornet Peak, which is up by Flathead, I believe. Nice. And I was just looking just for me and my gal, the same one I proposed to, just for a cool place to get away when I was smoke jumping. And all these jumpers were like, man, Hornet Peak, super cool. Go check it out. So I Googled it and hit images, and it just, brought up a ton of different lookouts. And it showed, I can't remember, I think it was a gal, and she like kicked back like with, like a cup of tea or something, with her book, and like sunset going down, and it's just like the most awesome scene. And the lookout was more like probably like an L4 or whatever one. Is yours like an L4?
I think you're in an L4, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so the box, like, where,
box but not flat roof.
Yeah, box but not flat. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yours is like that, not flat roof?
I do have a flat roof, yeah.
Oh,
you do?
I
Are you in an L6?
Yeah, I can walk up on my roof, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, not that I would ever do that.
Yeah. No. They're super steady because I was on top of the Willow Lookout with the lookout, and it's actually Tanner Fruit. And
Yeah.
Me and him were going to do one last year, but we got busy and everything was smoked in, so it wouldn't have been as cool. But so we're going to do one from the roof of Willow, and it's flat like that one too. So that's like an L6 then, huh?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know my difference. I think the L4 is an older one. Like St. Mary's, I think, is like an L4.
That would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think that's a flat roof. Yeah, the original one was on stilts up there at St. Mary's.
Damn.
Yeah, I think Deer Mountain was too. Yeah, they used to like she's even got some concrete blocks out there still from some of the old lookouts that were up there before they rebuilt it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this one too. It was on stilts. You can still see the footings.
That's right. Yeah.
It's pretty unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a crazy coincidence that you came up here today because we actually had our old fuels tech Tanya Neidhart. She came up here with one of the old Sula Peak lookouts.
No way.
First one to staff this new lookout. She was there when the old one burned down.
Yeah. Really? Wow. Yeah, back in 2000. I guess we should probably hit the history on that. And then if you guys remind me to loop back to St. Mary's and the stilt one, because that's kind of a wild story. But just that I was told. I wasn't there for that one. But so the original lookout here, as far as I know, and there's the plaque downstairs. I put on my Instagram for folks who might be following me. It gives the history, and I'm going to mess this up probably. But back in the fires of 2000, which was pretty rough on the Bitterroots, there's also an epic picture of an elk that's just right down the road from where we're at in the river with the big, fire, probably not the front, but just the big fire behind it, like after the front had gone through, I believe, just from what I know of fire in the picture. But it's really cool, and these elk are just kind of looking back at the fire and towards the evening. So
that shit is iconic. It's incredible.
Yeah. There's probably a name for it, but yeah,
I don't know if there's a name for it. There should be, for sure. But yeah, it is definitely an iconic photo.
Yeah, so anyone who's listening, like Bitterroot, Fires of 2000, Elk, River, like all those things could probably get you to what we're trying to talk about.
Some good keywords in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get you where you're looking for. So that was a giant fire, and if it was a little more light out, you could see like there's still quite a big fire scar out just the back door of this place. And then it also got the fire lookout back in 2000, and then they rebuilt this sucker right after, right? I mean,
yeah. I think it was up for the season 2001.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, and then this was a prototype, and this is more of a octagon.
Octagon, yeah.
Octagon. Octagon. There we
Octagon. Go. Yeah, I had to work my math real quick. I was like, all right, 5 is hex. But yeah, I mean, just amazing. Like the views. The first time I came up here with you, Sam, I was like, holy cow, man! Like, I mean, when you're standing outside, you're like, oh man, that's super cool. You can see pretty far. But then you get in here and you're like a little bit higher off the ground, and it's amazing the difference. Just being up top here.
Quite.
Yeah. And you've actually called in your own fire so far, too. So, I mean, we're off to a good start.
Yeah, I was a little embarrassed because it ended up just being a guy burning a pile. But
that's still, man, it's good
practice. I
called
called in dispatch first just to say, hey, man, are there burn permits in the area? And he's like, no, there's not. So I'm thinking they might have heard us on the radio and snapped up a burn permit as our guys were on the way out there.
Oh, could have been, yeah. Smart on their part.
Yeah, we might want to do that real quick.
Yeah.
I felt a lot better after talking to Jerry, one of the guys down in Sula, and he's like, dude, thanks so much. Like, I did not want to do the tasks that we had this morning.
Yeah,
I'm so glad that we got to go check that burn pile.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's it's like training for us. Like on the ground is like, all right, like you get a chance to like do like a dry run. Like, all right, everyone got their stuff. Hard hats, whatever it might be, water, and then
keep people on their toes.
Yeah, and nothing comes of it, but like it still kind of gets the gears moving.
Absolutely.
That fire mind, because I know like I've got 15 or 16 years in, close to 16 I think now, and it's like I'm still rusty, like.
Oh yeah.
Even people probably seen this podcast. People got a ton of fire experience, and I even slip up on my terminology from time to time.
I have no shame anymore.
I
was wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm old. I can admit it. Yeah,
I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And so kind of looping back to St. Mary's.
Yeah.
So it's got an L4 on it now. So back in the day, is what I was told is you could still see the footings from when it was a tower, and I think it was pretty tall. And St. Mary's is like, I don't know, 11,000 feet or something
it's
up there.
One of the, I think it's like the highest lookout in our district or something like that, or in the forest. Yeah,
I think so. And so I guess a really bad storm came over and like bent that thing over, like didn't quite break it off, but like bent it over so it's almost on the ground, I think. And there's still like a little debris up there, like holy cow, man! Like that would be gnarly. Like just
That would be
Wow.
something else.
yeah, the wind and the first time I was up there, the wind was just going crazy. So I was like, I couldn't even imagine being in a tower up there. You know, like let alone an L4 that's just a little bit off the ground, but like this one was pretty far up. And I don't know how much more advantage you're getting for being that you're already that high up in the air, but maybe it was better. I don't know.
Who knows, man? I mean, yeah, I feel like I've got a pretty good advantage. If you added 50 feet, what would that really do for me?
Yeah, and then it's being up so far, you know, from the valley floor. You know, I mean, I guess there's a lot more lookouts back then.
True.
So maybe they're trying to get a little bit more on the backside towards Idaho to see, because there's some deep canyons back on the backside of that sucker.
Could be.
Yeah, and left and right. The Bitterroots are pretty steep. But yeah, it'd be a wild ride, even just getting up in that sucker.
Oh,
that
man,
thing,
yeah.
dude.
You ever been on any of the lookouts in like the North Kaibab?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know how many flights of stairs. It definitely feels like 100 flights of stairs for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, like the big metal ones, right?
Yeah, the big metal ones. Yeah, it takes like
All-day
20 minutes
hike.
to walk up them. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just a little hot box up there. And
It
then
is,
the
man.
land is super flat. It seems impossible unless you're, triangulating with another lookout to get any sort of accuracy on any smokes out there.
That makes sense, man. Yeah.
Is that why they're just nothing but like a metal room? And you got like a chair and like an alidade maybe?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
all the supporting structure, the base is like all metal going up, and then basically a wooden box at the top, and it's enough to fit one person comfortably.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. And, well, it's become. You guys got Instagram?
Yeah.
I don't have one.
Oh, well, I can just show you my phone, I guess, after this. But Mingus fire tower, they call it, a lot of times they call them like fire towers down there too in the southwest. But basically, lookout tower. It's the same thing they were saying. It's just like tiny little cannon. We had 3 or 4 of us up there with the LED in the middle, firefinder. And I mean, it's we're almost elbow to elbow in that sucker.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. You really gotta get your bathroom schedule down on that tower.
I bet, man. Holy cow. Yeah, it's super cool. Shoot, I was gonna tag something else onto that, but yeah, worth checking out. And that's what's kind of cool about lookouts is how many like different kinds there are. Like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Blue Nose, but it's like right over here, just across the border in Idaho, and it's not staffed anymore. But there's like a garage, so you could drive up to it because there's roads. So you could drive up, park your rig, and set the garage. There's like a little cabin on top. It's awesome.
I got to talk to Bogan. Where's my garage, man?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, man, I appreciate the power and
Yeah,
stuff.
I've been getting slighted. I don't got a garage here. There was one of the guys at the training who was talking about one of those towers, right? And he had eaten something bad,
Oh.
and he would go run to the bathroom and then go walking back up and get 3/4 of the way back up all the stairs and just be like, oh, right back down.
No. That's like my nightmare because I've got Crohn's, so like, oh my, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm not. I'll be calling in
Can't do it
fires
anymore.
Yeah, I'll be calling fires from the outhouse.
I got a bucket up top.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
lots
Dude,
of
that'd be
people do
awful.
that.
That is true. Yeah, like a bedpan.
Yeah. Oh, God. I did meet one of the most badass ladies I've ever met in my life at that lookout training.
Oh,
She
really?
has a 16-mile hike in
Oh,
to her
yeah.
lookout. And
Yeah.
she just, it's so matter of fact to her. And I'm like, I think she asked, well, how far do you hike? And I was like,
I'd drive. Yeah.
10 feet.
Yeah, just to the stairs.
Yeah.
And back up the stairs.
Yeah. I drive to the fridge and I usually grab food and a beverage and then
Yeah.
it's 10 stairs up to my bed. So
Yeah, jeez, man, and just from what we were talking about with her, like, we were thinking that was like Gardner Peak, right?
That was
Yeah, I
Gardner
believe
Peak.
It was
yeah.
Gardner Peak. Yeah, so that's what we were talking because last year when I was in dispatch, I did a stint in dispatch towards maybe half the season, I guess, and that was awesome, man. I recommend that to anybody because like you really get to know your forest well. You get to kind of hear what's coming from like regional to national level because it kind of everything flows through that building, so it kind of leaks into dispatch, and so you get to have a little inside track on everything, and that is super cool. But we were like, 'cause one day I was just like hanging out, all of a sudden like this lookout that I never heard of was getting a hold of me, Gardner lookout. I'm like, hello, who are you?
Yeah. Well, because she's on the border, right, between
Yeah,
our
she's on
forest
the Nez
and
Perce, right?
Yeah, the Nez
Yeah.
Perce.
So
Yeah.
she's got our freaks, but she doesn't really listen to us unless there's something like she's aware of that might be going on. So she's mostly on the Idaho freaks because like Kootenai National Forest, right? Or no, Clearwater Nez Perce National Forest is one that she like I think is attached to. So she's on our border, but I guess she has an awesome view into Idaho. And she's actually in Montana by just a smidge on the map.
okay.
Yeah, so I don't think she comes down the Bitterroot up the West Fork to get to her place, right? Oh, you guys talked to her, so I think that's how she gets to her
I think
tower.
so. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
16-mile awesome hike. And didn't you guys say it's like a 2-day journey for.
She makes it a 2-day affair. I would make it a 2 or 3 day affair
yeah.
for sure. I'd have a bottle of whiskey and like plenty of camping stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I believe she does
tent.
get a packer team too, though. She get like the mules and stuff to help her.
Oh yeah, a little
bring
pack
stuff
train.
in.
Yeah, she did say that's the only supply train that she gets throughout the season too.
That's
She
true.
doesn't call
That's
for
wild.
any more supplies. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Months with just whatever dry goods you got.
Yeah, dude. There's a gal that I follow on Instagram. I think it's like She Be Trippin'. I'm hoping I'm getting that right so I can name drop you. But yeah, she's a lookout. She's been a lookout all over, I think. But like, I think her recent stays in the Bob Marshall, I want to say. And like, she was just going up to her lookout just the other day, and I was like checking out the photos, and there's like snow on the side of the mountain, like right almost against the lookout right underneath. And then she's like has pictures of the pack train going up. It's super cool, man. Like. I really dig that aspect of the Forest Service because no one else besides maybe some guides in the Bob and like other remote areas you don't see like pack trains that much anymore.
Right?
Pack strings. So
Yeah.
that's super cool to me. How like range wise? How old do you think was this Gardner gal? Like retired, like that kind of age range?
Yeah, so she did. I remember she was in our truck for lookout training. So she was talking about. I think she did a lot of guiding before. She was a lookout.
Oh, really?
She was like what was she, like a wilderness ranger or something like that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
outdoor to the core. She's all about being outside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to guess her age, but
No,
I don't either, yeah.
she had to be like 60 plus, right?
Yeah,
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe just under.
maybe.
Yeah.
You don't sound too.
She sounds like she's been in the Forest Service for a long time. And
Yeah.
she's had a lot of knowledge and experience. Yeah.
Well, it's deceiving either way, right? Because like I mean, at least in my career, I've met some people, guys and girls that are like leathery, and you're like, man, how old is this person? And they're like my age, or like, or the opposite, where you're like, man, that person they still fighting fire, and they're like 70 years old, and they're like maybe in their 40s. And you're like, wow, but I mean, maybe that's just me, but
I don't know. Take my estimate with a grain of salt. I'm horrible about it. So yeah,
no, absolutely,
throw out
man.
ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, well, I mean that
Like you're 14.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I guess that is a compliment.
yeah, that's true.
You'd rather be 14 than 30?
Yeah, I would.
I don't know, man. I just didn't know a lot when I was 14. I was very undersized, so I don't think I'd go back.
That's actually very fair. Yeah. You don't really know what you're doing when you're a teenager.
Oh,
that's
God.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was such a late bloomer, man. I really didn't finish growing until college, so like, I was at an awkward stage for a long time.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that lookout, I don't know, man. She actually looked probably a lot younger than maybe she was, just based off the stories she was telling. She just sounded like she was very experienced. Yeah.
Maybe
That's
that's maybe that's what got me. Could be.
Yeah, it could be for sure. And did she say how long she's been up there?
She did, and I completely spaced how long she's been up there. It's been a couple of years that she's been up there.
Oh, really? Oh, right on. I wonder. We should do a little more history on that lookout. There's so many lookouts that were out here, and when they came, I think this was like originally was like in 1920 something, the Sula Peak one before it burned down.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
It's
wild.
up here a long time. Yeah.
And someone told me that a lot of times there was like so many lookouts because they also were stringing like a phone line to each one of them, so that you could have communication back to the district. Like, because I'm imagining, I don't know when the radio started like coming into play, but I mean, I don't know if maybe that was the only way to do it.
Yeah, maybe. I can only imagine what it would be like before the cell phone era.
Yeah, absolutely,
right.
man.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline of that at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. God, dude, one of these days when I get used to my equipment, I'll stop like getting all. I'm like playing the trombone over here.
I'm just trying not to touch it. It's in a good spot, and I just need to remember to like be close enough to it.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, because I'm looking at you and I'm like, it sounds pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, if I need to like lean in more, let me know.
Oh yeah, I will for sure. And that's the thing. Like, listen to me, I'm listening to you, I'm listening to you. So
Yeah, you're doing pretty good for not having a mic.
Oh,
right
good.
in your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah.
You're actually pretty clear.
Sweet. Yeah.
yeah. So sorry for the bad audio, but my very first pilot, like it was me and Tanner Fruit, the Willow lookout.
Yeah,
So,
that's cool.
yeah, he was like he brought all the equipment and he did all the editing for the audio and stuff. I mean, made it sound awesome. He did a great job, but he was kind of throwing in a few questions and just answering a few things and just ending the conversation. But you couldn't really hear him too well, so like that was like one of the kind of complaints. So
What a bummer.
because he's adding some good stuff too. He's smart.
He's
smart
a very
fella.
knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, he's a lot of experience, and so I'm hoping that this picks up so that people will be like, there's a third look or there's a second lookout in that conversation, but I never heard it.
Man, that would be weird.
You know, Tanner used to be lookout here in Sula Peak.
Yeah, that's what he told me. Yeah, he started here, right, as a lookout, and then went to Willow, right?
Yeah. So he was here at Sula Peak, and then his music career kind of started taking off, and he moved down to Colorado for a little while. But once the pandemic hit, that kind of got kiboshed. And so,
no, go ahead, man.
Oh, I was actually lucky enough to see him play at Hamilton's Brewfest.
Really?
It was a great time.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that guy, it was a ton of fun. I would highly recommend. I was bugging him again. I don't know if he's going to have the time this year to play Brewfest in Hamilton, but man, I'd love to see it again.
Yeah, I hope so, man. And he sent me like some Spotify of his like band. I think it's his band, or maybe it's just like him. But it's not like Tanner, I don't think. I wish I could remember the name of it because I like name drop him right now, but he's on Instagram and stuff, so people can find him. And
True.
He used to be part of a band called Kung Fu Congress back in the day.
Kung Fu Congress?
Yeah,
that's
like
awesome,
back in
man.
2010, yep.
Maybe that's still part of that one, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
He did say he was making beats up in the tower. I don't know. Yeah, if you said, if that's independent or not.
Yeah, it's super cool when you walk in the way he's got it set up too. Like, have you guys been in there in Willow?
I haven't.
Yeah, and I guess I could tag this too. Is like that's part of the reason why I started the podcast. Like I was already kind of thinking about it, and then I went up in the lookout. Just one day I was on light duty. I had this tumor that was getting removed, so I couldn't do anything. So I just like went up to say hey to him. I was on my own little patrol, and like he's showed me around, super nice. And then we started like BS. I'm like, man, you should do a podcast. And he's like, he wasn't like that into it. And I was like, he's already busy. He's got his music career and stuff. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll do a podcast. So first I was trying to give him the idea. I'm like, lookout podcast, man. You're in the lookout. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do that actually instead. I was like playing around with the idea of doing a podcast for a while. And then like seeing the setup was like more inspiration of what he had, like he had his mics and, his saxophone was there. And I think he had a guitar there. And then his computer kind of like you guys have set up here. But he was like, had his mixing board, I think, up, and like kind of worked on some stuff. And I was like, wow, man, that's cool. And then like having just like such a cool job where it's like, looking around, and you can like kind of mess with your own thing and still keep eyes on the forest, like it's really, really awesome, man. And I think that's probably why he's kind of still around, steady paycheck, but still working on that career a little bit,
Yeah, definitely a lot of free time up at the lookout to work on your own stuff for sure.
Yeah, man, I think that's important to tell folks too, because like I heard people like writing books on the lookout and just like all kinds of stuff,
This guy,
you wrote a book?
Yep.
This guy's a writer.
That is awesome,
he wasn't going to tell you himself, but I'll bring it up.
Yeah,
He's a writer.
That's what friends are for. I'm glad I'm having you guys on at the same time.
And he's a good writer.
Well, thank you.
I bet. Do you have anything published?
I have a couple of short stories published on Vocal just as part of like challenges and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah, dude.
Paid a whole like 40 cents for my writing, so I made it.
That's more than this podcast is getting paid for. So like, man, you're ahead of me, dude. Yeah, I'd say that's made it.
You made the big time, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
That is awesome, dude. Man, that's cool. Are you working on anything else?
Yeah, so I have a writing partner, a good friend of mine, like back from high school, that we're writing a story together right now.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Dude.
And she just had carpal tunnel surgery, so she's out of the writing game for a little bit. But we do what we can,
Yeah, totally, man. That takes a little bit for sure. You guys are just co-writing, co-writing. I was gonna say co-authoring.
Yeah. We're co-writing a story. Yeah. We're both like huge sci-fi fantasy nerds. So.
Oh, cool, dude. And so I guess I don't give too much away, but is it gonna be like a string of books, like a series?
Yeah, it'd definitely be a series. There's a lot of story to tell with that. So yeah.
Yeah, man, that is awesome. Dude, I'm gonna keep messing with this. That's super cool. So that's just kind of put on hold. Are you gonna be working on more this summer? Or?
Definitely working on more this summer. That's like the most time. Like that's the best time to write for sure.
I bet, man. And like, it's a pretty dark night tonight, but I imagine like. We get some of those light moon because when I was in the Medicine Point lookout, the moon was out.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like daylight up there. I could have been working all night long because like I was not sleeping, and my dog was not sleeping either. He was just like watching the elk. I'm pretty sure because like he didn't care. He was just like watching back and forth, all night. And I was like,
that shit.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was freezing my ass off, but it was good.
They've got a wood stove up at Medicine?
Oh, they do. And it was warm when the sun was up, and I was like, damn, I'm too tired. I'll leave it alone. And then, like,
oh, dude.
Yeah, should have started because we had the two dogs, my wife and me, and then everybody else got the blankets besides me. So like half my body's just hanging out there, I'm like,
I can't do it. I'd be picking up one of those dogs. You're warming me up.
That's what I was trying to do. I was like, come here, buddy.
Come here, buddy.
Yeah.
It's like an every night affair. I've spent plenty of nights at Tepee. I just visited this guy over summers when I wasn't working fire, and I just had time to kill. Just a student. So like me and my girlfriend come visit every single day.
That's awesome.
It's like
man.
As soon as the sun starts going down, it's like, all right, let's haul some wood in, get the fire started because
Yeah.
it gets chilly, dude. Especially with the breeze that'll get going sometimes.
Man. Yeah, I mean, you saw me out here. I was just like hustling. Get
It's
my
a little
feet.
chilly.
Yeah, take a quick piss and get in here. I'm like, man, I'm freezing. Holy cow!
Yeah, I know. I got that like shoddy little pull-up bar set up. I went out there earlier like this morning. I was like, I could do some pull-ups. I did like 2, and I was like, fuck this.
Yeah, not ready yet.
It is like 46 degrees out here.
Yeah, and your pull-up bar's kind of on the shady side in the morning, huh?
Yeah. Did not plan that very well.
No, that's tough.
That's
So I
right.
guess that's something I've been wondering too. Like, since I got like no sleep up there, is that something that you guys kind of battle with during the season? Is
I sleep like a baby. I'll be
Yeah,
honest, man.
yeah. It's not sleeping that's a problem. It's getting out of bed that's the problem.
true,
Yeah.
true.
it's probably super cold too in the morning. Huh?
It's
Exactly.
cold.
Yeah.
The sun comes screaming up at like 5 in the morning.
See,
It
that's
is.
what I was
It is
thinking.
up.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're kind of joking about one of the lookouts going to bed with the sun the other day, and I was like, yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, because that's what I was kind of talking about too. Is like when we were up there, I should have done that. We're like, oh, so cool, messing around. Went and took some photos at night of the tower, kind of almost like light like this, just what was left of the light, so you just get the silhouette. And then we had some hot chocolate, hanging out, and then went to sleep. Moon popped up, and I was wide awake, and then I felt like I blinked, and all of a sudden the sun was up, and just like you said, I mean, it is right there, like blasting in your face.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't get much sleep that night.
I don't know. It's something I expected, so I came up here ready for it. Where it's just like, all right, the sun's going down. I need to think about winding down and going to bed. 'Cause
Yeah, that's smart.
It is coming up. 6-7 hours. It's going to be here, and it's going to be bright.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And that's something too, like that. 'Cause I hope everyone who listens to this gets to experience that, because that is super cool. It's rare that you can be on top of a mountain, because usually you don't. I mean, if you're gonna be on the top of a mountain, you don't want to be out in a tent really, because the wind's howling.
Yeah.
You're usually freezing, So like this is the rare opportunity to be able to live the life that you guys are living every day that you guys are, and for me to rent one night and be able to stay in it,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. There's nothing like looking at the stars at the top of the mountain away from the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, no light pollution really out this way. And
Oh man.
some of the coolest pictures I've seen of like lookout towers and stars is actually from a cart. So like right across the valley from you. I mean, like really, it's like as the crow flies, it can't be that far from you, huh?
No, yeah, it's only like
You can see it
I
across
think
the valley.
it's about 5 miles as
Yeah.
the crow flies for me, something
Oh,
like
really?
that.
It's
Yeah,
pretty damn
something pretty
close.
short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which and like 5 miles to some folks might seem like a lot, but like out here, 5 miles
That's
is
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
nothing, yeah.
How far do we drive to the grocery store?
Yeah, well, it's a 40-minute drive. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least.
40-minute drive to anywhere out here.
Yeah, exactly. And I would have been here a little earlier because I was trying to catch it as the sun went down, but like, yeah, you kind of underestimate how far. I'm like, it's not that far up to Sula. And then
Where were you driving in from?
Stevensville.
Oh Jesus!
So-
Yeah, that's okay. We were thinking Hamilton. Like, you should be here in an hour.
Yeah, that's what I was planning on. I was like, oh man, that's usually what I'm thinking. It's like Hamilton to here, because it's the last time I did it, and I was like, oh, I was really wrong.
If you're from Steve, if you're going like 95.
yeah, exactly, pushing the limit there.
But speaking of the stars thing, what was the name of that comet that was coming through a few years ago?
Oh,
you remember that?
it had some fancy name to it. Yeah,
There was a comet that was visible in the sky.
Oh, I do
and
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Staying up until 2 a.m. and checking out the stars, that was something else, especially at a Tepee. Like you said, no light
man.
pollution. That comet was bright.
Dude, I wish I would have known you guys back then, because like
Truly, yeah.
yeah, we're sitting, and it's not too bad. We got a little like light pollution from Missoula, but it wasn't horrible. But it would have been way better out here, because there's no light
Nothing.
pollution out here. Yeah.
I mean, Darby, and that's nothing.
Yeah, totally. And that comment was cool. I can remember, like it seemed like it was just sitting in the sky.
Yeah.
It wasn't really moving,
Burning
It's
away
so
in the
cool.
sky, yeah.
Yeah,
Something
the
else.
next night it'd be a little farther away, or a little farther down the skyline.
Mm-hmm.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, you always hear like strange stories of lookouts seeing strange stuff. Have you guys experienced anything like?
Tell us your UFO
I
stories.
knew there was gonna
Oh
be a photo.
man, yeah. And so I don't know if it was like anything super weird. This could have very much been like a comet or something like that. But yeah, I was sitting up at the tower, and it was like it had to been like 4:00 in the morning, like right before the sun came up. And I had to use the bathroom, so I got up and used the bathroom, and I was still pretty like blurry-eyed and whatnot. But like out towards Lost Trail, there was a bright light, and it hung there for a minute, and I thought it was the moon. And it was not the moon.
It was not the moon.
It was not the moon at all. No, because like after hanging there for like about 2 minutes or so, it just kind of zipped across the horizon. I was like, oh, that's super cool. It's my first UFO.
Thank you, my
That
friend.
is super cool. So
Starnes, do you want one?
I'm good for now. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm still
okay.
finishing this one up. Yep.
yeah. So you said
Thank you,
like
friend.
set up a Lost Trail like ski area for a hot second, like looking like the moon almost, you said? And
Yeah, it was, or like a moon or like a star. It was really, really bright, and then it just took off past the horizon and just went from like 0 to 1,000 really quick. Yeah.
Why are you writing an alien story? Or
Why
is that
am I
in the
not?
works? Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually writing an alien story.
Oh,
right
okay,
now,
all right, good to hear it.
Yeah, so
I'm psyched. I can't wait to read it.
that's where I kind of thought maybe the beginning of your writing sci-fi stuff might have began like, man, I should write about these weird experiences.
Yeah,
That's genius.
Yeah, so there's another like writing challenge that's up right now on Vocal that I'm trying to write for, and I kind of like as soon as I got into the Lookout this year, I definitely like dive a little deep into the alien stuff. So yeah,
That's
it was
awesome,
pretty
man.
interesting. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting because I've heard, all of us with fire. The really cool thing is we get to fight fire all over. I mean, this year's a little different, but typically, you could be in the Southwest, California, wherever, and there's lookouts all over. So I'm talking to Lookout like some weird stuff you've seen, man, like a chupacabra moving around or what?
That's awesome.
You're looking down a field and see like some cow getting slaughtered. You're like, whoa, I'm locking my door.
it's time for bed.
I'm not gonna lie, I did think of that the other day where I have that gate. My Lookout, it's you might have got it in the panoramic that you took.
Oh yeah,
at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
But what it is the stairs around the outside, and halfway up those stairs is a gate that can lock. And the other night, just laying in bed, and I was like, should probably keep that thing closed.
Probably should lock that sucker,
I don't know what's running around out on these hillsides. We do have sightings of grizzlies in the valley this year, and just that kind of stuff coupled with like rattlesnakes and all. Not like the gate's gonna stop a rattlesnake, but yeah,
it's gonna go open the gate in the morning. He's gonna be like right there.
Jesus. Yeah, I know. I took the weed eater to this place the other day over that same thing. I was like, I don't really want to get bit when I'm walking down to the outhouse or anything like that.
Yeah, super. Yeah, that's smart, man. Preemptive planning.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You had just visited that day, as a matter of fact. Luke had just come up, and I was halfway through like cutting down this ridiculous knee-high grass everywhere.
Yeah, look good, man.
It's good respite too.
Oh yeah.
Good to take a break.
Yeah, definitely, man. Do you have to do the same thing? You got snakes and bears and.
So I don't have snakes up there. Yeah, it gets definitely a little colder up there, and it just seems like it's more like high desert up here than it is over in Tepee. It's definitely more forested in Tepee, so I've never seen any snakes up there.
It's shocking how different the biomes are. That was weird.
Did you hear it? Yeah, because I've been kind of hearing it.
It's shocking how different the biomes can be between two places that are relatively close, especially in the heat of the summer. This place gets more high desert, just about. And Tepee, it seems, is just forested land, even though it is on a hilltop. It's pretty wild.
It is really wild, man. And like you said, it's just down the road, really.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah, to us, yeah.
What's a 50-minute drive?
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, is it more than 50? How long did it take you to drive here the other day?
To drive here from Tepee?
Yeah.
About an hour, yeah.
Oof. That is unreal.
It's a bit of a haul, yeah.
That volume working out for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I get too high, it seems like we get that buzzing. But
Do we
then
move it closer?
I don't know if it's...
You hear it?
Can we hear it?
Yeah, when it's up high, I do hear like that slight buzzing.
Yeah. But now, there it is. So if I can turn it down to...
But I worry that we won't hear Tyrel if we don't have it up higher.
I know. I might have to just take the buzzing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I imagine it can't be too...
No, because we're probably getting... Because I noticed when I do the audio, I'll be able to hear you... I'll be able to hear me on your mic, and then... So we'll probably get some feedback from both, but hopefully... It's just easier to edit because when you get the file, it'll be an audio file for you, audio file for me, and hopefully it'll be an audio file for you.
Oh.
And then I can tweak either one. So I might be able to add some volume to yours and take ours down a little bit to kind of even it out. Still kind of new to this world, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah, hopefully that'll work.
Yeah.
In theory,
So you just keep screaming towards the middle, would you?
Yeah. Okay.
It's like you're yelling at your knees or something.
Yeah. It's going to make for a weird video, but whatever.
Yeah. Seems like he's just talking to his wiener all the whole time. So.
You're seeing real-time action of what happens up at TV.
Long, lonely nights.
It's all right, buddy. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So Tepee's a good place.
You can visit anytime.
Yeah, come say hi, please.
He needs it.
Yeah, take some time out of your day. Come on over.
God, man.
But on Tepee, can you see over into the B-Bar D then?
I can see a lot of the B-Bar D territory, and yeah. So I always try to like one of the problems I'm running into this year is like trying to get, because they're doing something new with the radios this year.
Oh,
and so
gotcha.
normally I like to use my handheld to listen to their traffic, especially if we have stuff going on, because
Oh,
they have
yeah.
aircraft, and it seems like they don't talk to us a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And their aircraft, like, we had a fire out in Frog Pond one year, which is like right on the border between the BBRD and our forest.
Oh, yeah.
And we had some folks out there, and they had an aircraft fly over, and I ended up getting a hold of them, like, hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, really? Oh, cool,
You're
man.
gonna crash into our aircraft. I thought you were gonna bring up the Myers fire.
The Myers fire. What happened to the Myers fire?
The multiple 1,000-acre fire that was on B-Bar-D, and then
Oh, that spilled over
overnight,
to us? Yeah.
overnight,
Yeah.
it was like, hey, by the way, there's multiple 1,000 acres burning on your forest now. Good luck.
Oh, hey, a little gift
Yeah.
Yeah.
from the B-Bardy.
Whoa.
We had it, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
a
busy year.
That was very busy. That was a cluster.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
right before that fire blew up a bunch of our wilderness, like we went out to a little IA out at Mystic Lake,
Oh, yeah.
to some of the wilderness out there, and fought a fire for a couple
Oh,
days. and
beautiful
then-
area out there, huh?
Yeah, it was really super cool. And then
I've just heard good things. I've never been.
yeah, well, it's definitely a lot different now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because all the forest.
Yeah, so once we got done pitching up that fire and we're trying to get like flown out, the Myers fire blew up, and so
Oh, geez.
yeah, so we ended up getting flown out pretty quickly, and
Yeah.
then the fire just blew over everything that we just.
You're like, oh, we just put that out.
Ah, bummer.
Myers
Yeah.
was 17.
Yeah, it was
Okay, and the
Awesome.
lightning bust was 18.
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we had a big lightning bust out the East Fork in 2018, and we didn't have a lookout. I think Ben was on vacation or something.
Something like that, or he had like, since our old lookout at Tepee, he inherited a soybean farm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
it. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
and he's like lives out in the Midwest, and so
Yeah.
he had to go take care of some stuff for that.
Oh, gotcha.
Kind of early.
That's life changing there. Like, going from
Yeah.
out of the Midwest, soybeans.
Well, they stuck him up there to kind of help direct resources because, I mean, dispatch can't hit a damn thing out there.
Yeah.
And they
Just
were
a
like,
hole.
hey, why don't you hang out up at the lookout and you can direct resources and get in contact with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it turned out there's like 7 different fires. So
Oh, wow.
he's directing resources to all these different incidents, and he's playing logistics between like me and Graham had to run gear and crew and equipment. So we're driving around, we're ripping around the East Fork in a UTV.
Jeez.
So he's trying to like keep us on a leash and figure out where we are and where we can move stuff to next.
Yeah, and probably keep you safe, too.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of the above.
Yeah.
He did such a good job. The next year, he was our FMO, Derek.
Uh-huh.
He was just like, "You want that job?"
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man.
It's a pretty sweet way to get
Yeah,
into
it
the
was a good
gig.
time, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say being a lookout it's much. Okay, it's not like firefighting. Yeah, you know how in firefighting, you go from 0 to 60 back down to 0 all the time.
Yeah,
and it's a
yeah.
little bit of the same up at the lookout. It's either there's nothing going on or it's absolute
Or
chaos.
everything's
Easier on my
going on.
knees.
Yeah. Yeah, easier on your knees, your back, man. Yeah. Your whole
Feel
body.
great.
Yeah. Jeez, yeah, your hands, everything, man. Like whether you're sawing or digging line, man, it gets a little hard, man.
It does.
A lot of people got the old carpal tunnel going, you know?
Dude.
Oh, I'll bet, yeah.
One of my best moments from my rookie year was one of our crewmates, James. I love this dude, but we had been subject to digging. What was the line for? It's like a practiced line dig all day, 8 goddamn hours with Theo.
Was that right before the Red Willow fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up at like Tin Cup or something. We were
Yeah.
digging line. It was
8
8 solid
hours.
hours of digging line. I mean, probably 7 with breaks and everything included,
Yeah.
but it was a whole day of digging practice line on probably like a thinning unit or whatever that we were going to burn,
Oh.
RX later on. We got a fire. It was like 6 p.m. Everybody's getting off, and our engine foreman comes screaming out of the office. He's like, "Everybody, get the hell back here! We got a fire. Let's go! Grab all your stuff!" And people were dragging their line gear behind them,
Yeah.
like walking back to the trucks. Like,
Beer in
you
the
got to be
bunkhouse.
shitting me! Yeah.
Well,
And-
I'm already spent on line digging.
we get to this incident, and it's in grass. Like some dummy, like shouldn't say that. This guy blew up tannerite in some grass, and it was just ripping up a hillside.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, warranted, right?
Yeah, exactly. Looks
But,
like a duck, quacks like a duck. You know?
Quacks like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we had been digging line for all of like 5 minutes, and this poor dude, he was infantry in the army,
And James, yeah.
and he's just broken in a million different ways. And we dug line for maybe 5 minutes, but this is after all day of doing it, and he just his hands locked up all weird. He's just like ah.
Kinda like the-
He had the old man thing going on pretty hard, and I felt bad for him. But to this day, it's like one of my favorite memories of this poor guy.
Gets like the T-Rex arms going. You're like,
Oh, totally,
no.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, well, it's also a different feel, like, using a chainsaw on the thinning unit versus cutting hot line,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's like it's so hard to get motivated for digging line for like a unit that you're gonna burn later on. You're like, oh yeah, like it's fine, but there's like you said, there's not the motivation there.
Yeah,
you don't fire
kind of
like
care less.
coming over the hill. Yeah, exactly. Or something you're gonna burn off of later. You're like, oh, this got to be good, you know. Where it's like, I don't even know if we're gonna use this next year. You know,
That's
always gonna
that
be
was the
heavy.
problem.
We're going to be out here again in 3 years digging this again.
Yeah.
Digging the
exactly.
same goddamn line.
Yeah, because weird stuff happens and litigations and NEPA and stuff out of our hands. So you're just like,
Yep.
hopefully this works.
Well, there's a million reasons that burn units go unburned and piles rot and stuff like that. It's a bit of a shame.
It is a shame. Yeah, and then like you said, different management comes in, like they get forgotten about. I think there's like a big area around Stevie that maybe was on the border or maybe it was state land, but I came stumbling upon it a couple years ago and just patrolling. I'm like, man, like this are old piles, you know, like I didn't even know about this, you know, and I think there's some confusion. I never got to the bottom of that story, but yeah, it was kind of sad to see. It's like, man, someone put in a lot of work here, you know, get all these piles and
20 years ago.
yeah, exactly. Jeez.
It's not going to burn very well.
No, yeah, wasn't much of them.
I remember doing one of those on our district.
Yeah.
In 17 or 16, I don't know, it doesn't matter. And they were the same kind of thing, old piles. It's like, oh, we're finally going to burn this. And the snow was flying.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was completely out of flux at that point because it's October at least. There's snow on the ground. And the piles were so old, like you couldn't get them to consume.
Oh, they were
at
like
all.
bone piles, weren't they?
Yeah, they were like crappy bone piles. They're so old, so
yeah.
there's not really much of a pile to it left, and you just can't get them to consume. So I would waste like 10th quarter of my drip torch, like just trying to get this thing to consume. And I remember my boss getting on me. He's like, "Dude, you got to move. Like you're getting left behind." I was like, "Do you want me to burn these or fuck it? Let's just move on, man.
Yeah,
we can leave them here. It's fine."
Oh, I've been there, man. When you got like a huge chunk and all piles and it's not going. And the thing is too, like back in the day, I don't think they did the paper, which like when I first did the paper, like, is this really gonna do anything? But it really does. It kind of helps keep the moisture out a little bit and gives something to light, you know, so you got that dry kind of center, and when you get that center going, it'll consume. But I had the same thing where I just like stick the drip torch on the side and then just like let her go. And it's going to be hard to describe drip torch for people who don't know. But drip torch is basically how wildland fire folks, and maybe other people, but wildland firefighters for sure, do prescribed burns, back burns, and burnout operations in prescribed fire and then the wildfire scene. It's basically like a big metal can that's got a wick, a kind of funny little straw sticking out because it takes a little loop and goes up. And at the end of the wick, it's like a normal wick. It's got whatever wick material like in the end of it. I don't know what else to call it.
I think wick was perfect. Yeah.
I have no idea. It is a wick. It gets a little bit of mixed gas on it, and then it continues to burn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you typically light
gas.
it up, and get that wick going, and then it's a heavy diesel gas mix, so heavier on the diesel, so it's not so volatile, and and you go to work with that sucker. It works good, you know, especially if you got a good balance. And so like most of the time, like Sam was saying, you're feeding a pile, and you're just like basically trying to start water on fire.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Yes. Can I get the snow and ice to burn?
Yeah,
let's find out.
We'll see how this goes. Yeah, so it could be a bit of a headache, but try and do what you can. So can't count on the weather always. Yeah. Speaking of weather, I mean, like that's what I was gonna ask you. Loop back around to Tepee. Last year you were gone, right? And then you came back to Tepee?
That's correct.
There was a fire?
Yeah. So typically during the season, I'll go down and fight fire with the crew in the beginning of the season, and then for our severity, I'm up to look out. But towards the end, I come back down and try to get a couple fire rolls in.
Oh, so you were still around, but you just weren't up in the tower.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We pulled me down a little early because we had a roll going out to Helena for one of the big fires out there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I came back, and so we ended up getting a start while I was gone. And so when I came back, and unfortunately, while we were on Helena, like our engine caught COVID.
Oh, that's tough, man.
A lot of folks had to get quarantined up in Hamilton. But they let me finish my quarantine up in Tepee to keep an eye on that fire. Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. I didn't know that. That's a good place to get quarantined, that's
for
sure.
Really
Overtime with my quarantine. Yes, please.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was always kind of worried about. Like, I guess I could have teleworked, but, like, be probably at my house, I guess, and try not to infect the fiance at the time. You know, so
it'd be a nightmare.
Yes, stay away, but could you bring me some food?
I love you from this other room.
From down here, down the basement or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So who's got the couch?
I'm on the couch.
Yeah.
The fuck.
Yeah, I guess. You sleep on the floor anyways. On fires.
Yeah, right. Oh, I finally wised up and got like a really nice sleeping mat.
Yeah.
We had a guy on our crew back in 17 named Luke, and he bought some fancy Climate is the brand name.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Holy shit.
Yeah, life-changing, dude.
Yeah, I have never looked back since. So I went up to Glacier one of my last years fighting fire, and it was pretty miserable. It was late season. It was freezing. It rained on us like half the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, we're just in fire camp, so we're sleeping on the ground. But we had an established site that we go back to every night, just kind of like off in the woods, off to the side of fire camp,
Yeah.
where you're not supposed to be.
A little quieter, though.
But yeah, it's a little quieter. We get out of the lights of everything because they'd leave those goddamn lights on.
Generators on all night.
Yeah, all night long. They'd turn them off at midnight.
Someone's,
it's like, dude, and they'd come on at like 5 or whatever.
Absolutely. There's one guy designated to slam doors all night, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that guy's always cruising around.
That dude is paid very well to slam those doors all night. He's going to do a damn good job.
He does an excellent job. I am impressed every time. Like, there he is.
You're working hard, sir.
Yeah.
So yeah, we snuck off to the side, but it was just frigid and miserable. And I had a tarp in that climate and whatever, sleeping bag, and I was like pretty happy.
Oh, it's
like,
amazing.
damn, I don't ever have to change it. I can sleep on like flat surfaces now. When I used to go up and visit Tepee, when I was not doing any fire stuff, I'd bring that little sleeping mat and like a sleeping bag, just sleep on the counter.
Yeah.
We're great.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And then like also like when the temperature is like colder, like it gives you that little insulation from the ground.
Yep.
It helps out so much. And then if you get like a different kind of climate that has like the ribs in it.
That's the one.
Yeah, I got like one like that too.
Fucking
And
love
man,
it.
it helps with some airflow too. Yeah, they're
Yep.
so good, man.
You need to upgrade.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I heard your mattress isn't too good.
I fixed that this year. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Good. Was it like one of those little like foam ones that you get in the rental ones have it?
I don't know what was it. It felt like there was like sawdust in there.
Oh, man, that old.
A really, really old futon mattress.
Yeah, it probably was sawdust. Back in the day.
Yeah.
A little hay in there, like to fluff it up every year.
Keep the experience authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Stinks like shit.
yeah, yes.
Smells like piss in here. Why?
So it smells a little bit like the pasture.
Yeah. All the rats running through it.
Oh God, yeah. That could be an issue.
Well, I mean, hats off to you. He dragged his own mattress up on top, and it's just like laying very casually on top of it all.
Oh, nice.
But that's the thing. He's got those crazy sheets. What are those? They're like the thickest thing I've ever seen, and they're like fuzzy and warm.
The fuzzy sheets?
Yeah,
my
what?
sister got them for me for my birthday.
Damn,
a couple
you
years
gotta
ago, yeah.
you gotta talk to Brooke and figure out where she got those, because that's something else.
Bed Bath & Beyond, bro.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. The bee's knees.
That's right.
Is it like a flannel material?
It kind of feels like it almost.
Damn
yeah.
near. It's real soft, and they're like super thick. I don't know what it is, and they're really warm.
It's really nice when it's cold outside, but as soon as it gets warm outside, it's
It'd be a bitch.
Yeah. At least you got your own mattress, so like if you when you take off this fall, you can bring the rats with you.
They've moved up into the attic, which is their new home, which Tyrel's gonna take with him.
Yeah. Bring your friends. Where do you winter? Are you still in school?
Yeah, so I'm still in school. I didn't go to school last year. Had some other things going on last year, but definitely plan on going back this year. I used to go to school out in Bozeman.
Oh, nice.
But they got rid of my degree program, so I'll be
MSU, son of a gun.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, so I'm gonna try for Missoula now.
Oh,
Dirty,
cool, man.
dirty Bobcats.
Yeah, dirty Bobcats. Well, I thought that's what happened last year. I'm like, man, he must talk to his professors and was able to do some homers from the tower, because like that's where I thought you were, because I'd heard that you were going to med school. So I was like, oh man, he must be just taking a sabbatical from med school.
Yeah, much needed sabbatical. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, dang. Are you still going the med route?
So I decided not to go the med route a couple years ago. So the original reason I went to the med route was because I was a Navy corpsman, and that's just kind of what I knew how to do, was like see patients and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But after not having to see patients for the longest time, I'm like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I could definitely get into some research. So.
Oh, nice.
And then I took a neuroscience class, and I kind of fell in love with that topic of study, and that's
man, neuro, dude. Like, just my own little experience. Like, I don't know, it's just amazing, because I was going into the physical therapy program prior to COVID, and was getting out of fire. My Crohn's acting up, and I had the tumor. Didn't know I had the tumor, so I was taking all pre-physical therapy. The prereqs. Mm-hmm. So I have a bachelor's in health and human performance, which is kind of like pre-physical therapy. So I just needed to take like physics 1 and 2, and then I retook anatomy and physiology 1 and 2. And but man, like once I started doing observation hours and doing more with like neural patients, like stroke and those kind of patients, man, it's amazing how much like you can gain once you have a stroke, and like the right the right therapist, you know, like group of therapists, you know, team, like speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. And man, I got to kind of experience that firsthand with someone who unfortunately had a fresh stroke, and then to see like them start to recover. And then also like got into TED Talks with like how all these different chemicals that, you know, help enhance the brain. It is wild, man.
Yeah.
So like, is that what, I guess what chased it out? Just what got you down that path? Because you want to really see patients as much, but just want to work on the engine of the body, or?
Oh no, I just got super interested in the brain, like human behavior, and like connecting, like how is the brain built and structured, and how does everything work in the brain, and how does that contribute to how people behave? You know?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it is insane. Like, and how much like damage to the brain, how your brain can kind of reconfigure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I know a fellow in Missoula who has only got half a brain because of an injury as a child, and basically pretty normal. Like has a few different things, but like still functional. You know, it is crazy. You know, like it. I guess from what I heard is that the one side of the one hemisphere, right, two hemispheres. So the one hemisphere of the brain was so damaged that the other body or the other part of the brain basically, I don't know if it like ate it, but like took over, and then the whatever, we'll just say left side of the brain was damaged, decomposed, and it was just like over like a few scans, like you could see the damage, it was still there, and then all of a sudden that hemisphere was just like gone, like from what I was told. Like I could be getting this wrong because I'm no expert, but I was like, wow, like that is super fascinating. And that was like also when I was going through my observations and talking to, you know, some therapists and trying not to violate HIPAA here, but I was like, man, that is really cool, you know?
Yeah.
So that got me interested, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. Yeah, and it's like you know, your brain's kind of built for survivability, and so like you know, you have an area of your brain that's responsible for like movement, and another that's responsible for like image recognition and stuff like that. But you have cells that are responsible for reciprocal functions on each space, and so that if one of them gets damaged, you still have some of that function in those other areas of your brain.
Oh wow, it's like redundancies, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, man, that is awesome. I did not see this podcast going there, but
yeah,
man, this is awesome.
Here we are. We're taking over.
Yeah, we're switching gears. Everybody, get ready. That's super cool, man.
There's a guy at my school who had a TBI, and I know they can affect people in a lot of different ways, but he is like, it took away his ability to recognize when he's being an awkward son of a bitch, and he will just like wade through like really awkward conversations. I am not close with this dude at all. I don't really know him. I just know of him because we work in the math. Well, I work in the math department. Yeah. He is a student who also frequents the math department.
Oh, awesome.
He opened conversation with me one day by just sitting down at the table I was working at.
Yes.
I was trying to build some homework, and he just sits down. And he's like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "Do you have sex?" Not right now.
Yeah, like, currently, I mean, I think we're in two different worlds here, buddy.
And I think he's a well enough meaning dude, but it was just one of those things where he got a really good knock to his brain, and he had a diagnosed TBI, and it just
all the filters just fell off.
Nothing of the sort. He doesn't understand. Like, ironically enough, he was like, "What does taboo mean?" I was like, "Well, write down whatever you did for the last, 2 years."
Yeah, since the injury, I mean, yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
He really doesn't have a filter, and he doesn't understand like compromising scenarios or awkward scenarios or anything like that. And I don't think he's malicious in any of his like statements or anything. He truly doesn't understand anymore, and it takes a lot for him to even generate an idea.
Oh my God.
Of what is normal in some of those conversations.
Yeah, that's brutal. And by awesome, I meant like awesome to watch, but like horrible to experience.
Yeah,
for that guy.
I feel bad that he has to experience it. Yeah, but yeah, he has a large learning curve to like kind of figure out like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say that.
Yeah, God, yeah, it's gonna be like learning all over again, like as a kid, like
truly
just blurting stuff out, and then you like getting shamed for it. You're like, what? I thought it was normal.
No, that was really, really fucking rude, dude.
Yeah, man, and that's a good time. I guess I meant to bring this up earlier, but another great thing about this job in general in the Forest Service, fire, is that you can be a student and then lookout as well. You get the same opportunity to have part-time fire, but then full-time student, with you guys. So you're going to neuro now, and then you are math and computer science.
Computer science and mathematics double major.
Oh, awesome.
Ideally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're starting somewhere. We'll see where it takes you.
Yeah.
That's like all pass, right?
That's kind of the alter. That's what I've come up with so far after being in school. Like, I went back just before the pandemic, and then the pandemic hit, and it shut everything down.
Yeah.
So and then I was just kind of on this awkward hiatus for a while.
Yeah.
And after getting back into it and finally like trying to get a little bit of direction with it, that seems to be where I'm going.
That's awesome, man. And that's like the one like silver lining. Well, one of many silver linings, is to the pandemic is that it gave, at least for me, and it sounds like you and probably you, it gave you time to pause and be like, all right, where am I going with my life? Because, I was going to take my GRE. Well, I already taken it once. I was going to take my GRE again. And then, I was just finishing up my observation hours. And then I was going to start applying to PT schools all over and hoping to get to Missoula. But, wherever I could get in. And that was going to be my life. And it would have been good. But then that gave me time, especially being cooped up in quarantine, it gave me time to be like, all right, I like outside a lot. Yeah. So I don't want to be in a job that I have to be inside, So, and then also I couldn't get a job because all the PT clinics were starting to shut down. So I was going to be a PT aide the one summer, and I was just starting to call around Missoula to try to get a position, which it doesn't pay a lot, but it's still like good to get your foot in the door. You get a little bit of money to get pretty much observation hours. So, luckily the Forest Service was doing like a COVID hire. So I got back into the Forest Service on a COVID hire. And then I was like, yeah, man, you know what? Taking a little time off. I'm kind of still digging this lifestyle, and came back to this. And so far it's working out. So, yeah. So kind of like you, take a little break and see what's out there.
I think it was nice for me. I had kind of a bit of an awakening there in my own life where I was just like, do I want to hike up that hill for the rest of my life? Maybe on my own time. I don't know if I want to carry a Jerry up there. That doesn't sound so fun. Yeah. So now, hopefully, what I'm trying to build is like maybe something where I can work remote and also live somewhere like this where I can all right, done with work for the day. Yeah. It's 4:00. Let's go on a hike.
Yeah. Totally, man. That's one thing that kind of emerged from the pandemic too, is like digital nomads. Like Airstream makes a trailer with the office in it. It looks awesome. And I kind of knew that, but then I was talking to Doria, who used to be the natural resource instructor at Trapper, and now she's at Grand Teton. Really nice gal, awesome gal. And we were just, she was like training me up, and then she's like, oh, like digital nomads and like all this other stuff. And like, because we started talking about my Airstream and how I'm going to use it for this podcast eventually. And
hell yeah.
Started just like picturing like all these beautiful like parks and stuff, and just be like pulled up, next to a lake or something, just like working on whatever. Like, I mean, that sounds like the dream, And I guess, and also want to tag in on what you just said. The flip side of this job is it is like tough on the body, and I guess we touched on that a few times, but like, and I've heard so many people say like, yeah, I'd love to be here, but not for work. Like I've been to Sedona, I've been to Alaska, I've been all these beautiful spots. And it's cool because maybe I wouldn't have checked it out, but also it's like I'm not enjoying it as much because I'm there for fire, So I'm not like there on my own free time. Like, yeah, I'd love to go see, like whatever rocks in Sedona, like
Absolutely.
I'm just kind of floating around on patrol or something, or fighting fire.
Yeah, I can really sympathize with that thought. I'm so glad that I had the chance to live in Alaska and not be tied to fire just because I had a freedom to live life, have weekends, just do what I want, go check out I'm still working on mine. You need another?
I'll take one. Yes, please. Thank you.
You know what? I'll take one now just to preemptively.
Yeah, I'll warm it up.
Thanks, sir.
You got free
But yeah, I got to go fish for king salmon. Thank you. I got to go fish for king salmon on my weekends with my squad leader and a couple other good buddies. And that's just, you're not going to have time for that shit if you're there on assignment for fire, I mean, you know how this life is. You go somewhere, you're there, but you're not really. You live in a fire camp, and every single waking moment that you're not in fire camp, you're just doing your assignment. Yeah. And you might hit a restaurant, maybe. And I got, shit. There's paper towels right on the microwave behind you. Oh, perfect. Cannot believe I have a microwave and a lookout.
People might be listening to this and think the same thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I got a microwave and lights.
There's no way they're in a lookout right
now. You
now.
guys are in a hotel.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just about to say.
This is the Hilton on the hill.
Yeah, it's Hilltop Hilton, baby.
Hilltop Hilton, yeah. Like you're saying though, like you're on fire, you're in this beautiful spot, and like
you don't get to experience it truly. I mean, you get to be in nature, but usually it's half burned.
Yep.
And you're dog shit tired because you're working 16-hour days, and that's if things are going right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's ideal. Unfortunately,
that's kind of what you're hoping for.
And I mean, one of the only caveats to that was when I was down in New Mexico. We were just there for severity, so we were just sitting on our asses the whole time, which it allowed us to run around Albuquerque and check out all these different restaurants, stuff like that. It was super fun.
Yeah.
but you spend a lot of time twiddling your thumbs and you're just waiting for an assignment.
Yeah, not getting your full pay because you're not
True.
getting the hazard pay and the 16s. You know?
Exactly. So I'm sacrificing pay, but I got to check out all these restaurants. I got to hang out on their Sandia Crest, their like little local mountain that's super awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That they're keeping people off of because it's severity and everyone's pissed.
Yeah.
And I got to see like fireworks over the 4th of July in
Oh,
Albuquerque.
cool.
It was really cool stuff, and their district was awesome, and we got to check that out. But it kind of hurts no matter which way that falls. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're either going to make plenty of money and you're going to be a little less stressed at the end of the year because you got all that in your pocketbook, or you can actually enjoy your time, be kind of bored depending on the assignment.
Yeah, and get to take in the culture and the
Exactly.
surroundings. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
I would say for what you guys do too, man, you just don't get paid enough to do
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I mean, you're
I agree.
exposed to so many things. Do you know who Theo Johnson is?
No, it's
So
not
he
ringing
was
a
on the
bell.
Lola shots. He was our crew supervisor here or assistant crew supervisor here in 2016.
There's no way I didn't run into him, but I'm not placing a face.
Yeah,
Theo didn't.
Medikosovic, you know Medikosovic?
Yep.
Yeah. So him and Theo and a couple other folks did a study a number of years ago on like smoke inhalation and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think the results were somewhere along the lines of like, being on fire, you basically inhale like, 2 packs of cigarettes a day worth of smoke.
Oh, God.
Which is
disgusting.
really bad. And then,
Yeah.
like, some of that white ash is like got silicone in it and stuff. And
Oh, jeez.
yeah.
So on that, folks,
Yeah.
overlap for the next one.
Yeah.
No, I had heard it was really bad. I didn't hear that in depth, but was there more? Did I cut you off?
Oh, no, not at all. No,
Oh,
yeah.
just making sure. I'm like, geez, man.
I mean,
Like,
even McCallum was poking into that. Our boss from 17-18, he was looking, I don't think he was looking too in depth, but he was like, dude, I mean, the best way to have good lungs is to breathe clean air your entire life.
yeah.
We do the opposite of that.
Yeah.
I know, and I was joking around a couple years ago. Was it 17 where the whole valley was socked in? Because like the Lolo Peak,
Yeah.
the Sunrise, we
Yep.
were just surrounded, and the Rice Ridge up in by Sealy, and more than I'm not mentioning, but so we're socked in all summer, and I'm like, and like from the top down, like we were still needed to go out and thin, and I was like, don't worry, guys, the smoke's organic. It's totally fine. but
It's
we
just
all,
firewood, right?
yeah, exactly. We all knew, especially like you said, the silicone. Like, it's, do you know how long it stays with you if you're breathing in like that white ash with the silicone?
No, I'm actually not sure on that. I could actually definitely find an answer for you, though.
So on the next one, we're in Tepee. Look out.
Yeah, we'll make
Tune-
that a follow-up
tune in.
for sure.
That would be
Yeah.
a ton of fun.
That would be cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do it for sure.
Yeah.
And maybe we're smart. We'll have to write that down because I'll forget.
Let's take some notes.
Yeah, but I remember hearing about the study because I think I was jumping on a Missoula at that time, or for some reason around the AFD.
Shit, dude.
Yeah, because and the Great Northern was kind of out of the AFD for a minute, and I was with them back in the day as a squad boss. So somehow I'd heard that the study was going on, and then I heard at the end of that season, the conclusion of the study, I heard it was so bad they didn't want to release it because then no one would fight fires.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I was like, so that's good news.
Yeah. And then some of those guys, like especially some of those hot shots, you're like running a gun all the time. Those guys like burn like between like 8,000 and 10,000 calories a day.
Yeah,
It's
man.
hard work. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was one of my really good buddies. He jumps out of West now, and he's gonna be on the podcast later on. But he was on the Bitterroot shots, and I can't remember what year. It was like 12, I think, when it was like super busy. And I hadn't seen him in forever. And he's a pretty stocky fella. He carries a little bit of meat on his bone, maybe a little extra, but he's just a beast. And I've never outweighed this guy in my life. And we were at the gas pump in Whitehall. We're both from Whitehall, Montana. And I'm like I kind of peek around the gas pump. I'm like, Bronson. It's like, what up, dude? And he just gotten back, just got laid off. I'm like, holy cow. He was like hugging a diamond, but he was like, I gave him a hug, and I was like, geez, man, you're missing part of you. But like you said, all those calories, it's crazy. Isn't it like, I can't remember what like event, like Ironman or something they were comparing it to, like going on, like a hard, roll is like burning as many calories as that, or I can't remember like if that's a good comparison.
I would say it probably would be a good comparison, because Ironman prospectively takes probably
like
a day
all
or
day,
a couple
right?
days.
Yeah, and I think running a saw on a hot shot crew is comparable. Like a shift running a saw on hotline, like you're saying, is comparable to doing an Ironman. What you said, like is a day of activity. Was it swimming, bike, and running, right?
Yeah,
swimming, biking, and running.
It's like a mile swim.
Oof.
What is it? Like it's a 100-mile bike ride.
Oh my god!
And then it's a marathon.
Yeah, the marathon at the end. Yeah,
26.2. That's gross.
Ooh. I've never moved my body that continuously for 26 miles.
I think the furthest I've ever run is like, I think I did 8 miles once, and I haven't ever done it since.
Yeah,
The most I've done since is 5, and that's a shitload for me in a day.
Yeah, I've done 2 in the last year altogether. But no, I did a half marathon. I was getting ready to do rookie training, and it was mostly because I'd done 10 miles the week before, and I was kind of winding down. But I was like, I'm probably never gonna get this close to a half marathon in my life. So I'm like, I'll just go see if I can do it. And it wasn't horrible because I was in awesome shape, but yeah, I don't really have the urge to do it. I probably will do one marathon before I get, before the wheels fall off. But just to say I did it. But yeah, I'm not much of a runner.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not enjoying myself after if I'm really in the zone, I can get through that 4th to the 5th mile and be okay. But after that, man, the only time I've run plus that was back in the day in the Army up in Alaska, and our battalion commander was a psycho. Some 50-year-old dude who was 4'8", and he's just "We ready to go today, troops?" I was like, "Yeah, I get. What are we doing?" I'm starting to get scared. Yeah. He's like, "All right, we're running to the highway." Oh, that's not bad. That's a mile. Well, we're running it, 8 times.
Oh, jeez, man. Was that in Fairbanks?
No, so I was stationed right outside of Anchorage.
Oh, cool.
Joint Base Elmendorf Richardson. So Fort Rich, if it's just the Army. But yeah, it's Army Air Force up there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed it.
That's cool. Yeah, it's kind of a beautiful spot. I when I jumped during 2015, the fire scene was pretty good up there. And so, flew to Anchorage, and then I went to Fairbanks. Nice. And so I never really get to see around Anchorage. I heard that's the more pretty part. I was more in the central part of Alaska.
Yeah. You're down there on the south coast of Alaska in Anchorage, and it's very pretty. Anchorage is it's a full-on big city, honestly.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, and I turned 21 up there, so I've got a certain amount of nostalgia for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, we just love going to the dive bars and stuff like that. But then just the mountain ranges they're here. They're very cutting into the sky, and they're just gorgeous and sprawling and huge.
Yeah, sharp edges and stuff.
And you have that plus the northern lights, plus you get 4 feet of freaking snow for 8 months a year, which surprisingly I'm okay with for some reason.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, man. And in the summer you get nonstop light for a while.
Truly 24-hour light, damn near 24-hour light, even in the southernmost, well, not quite the southernmost, but very southern Alaska. Sun's still up, 11:45. You're like, I gotta be up in 5 hours. I should probably go to bed.
I know, man. And then you gotta when I was on fire up there, you gotta sleep in a tent to keep the bugs off you because the mosquitoes are so bad.
They'll carry you away.
Oh. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah. The size of birds. Yeah. Jesus Christ, what is that?
Yeah.
Fighting fire in Alaska is a completely different animal too.
Yeah. It definitely is, man. I remember I was just kind of figuring out. And with jumpers, everyone does their own thing a lot of times. So everyone's tying in, but they're all mentally on the same page except for me because I'm I don't know where to start with this. And 2 guys have these little Shindawa Honda pumps. They're just going from puddle to puddle. And they're and they start got a little section of garden hose, and that's pretty accurate, huh?
Yeah. I never had to fight fire up there. I just got to do Army stuff up there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. We did set a range on fire one time, and everybody carries canteens or what a Camelback is?
Yeah.
So everybody carries
water
either canteen.
platter.
Yeah, exactly, or one of those. So they're just fuck, everybody get out there. So everyone would go running out there with their little pistol belt with canteens or their Camelback, and you just dump your drinking water on the fire. That's the closest I ever got to firefighting while I was in the Army.
It was fire, and you're putting water on it, still counts.
Look at you guys. You could be firefighters.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically all that little Honda was doing, just squirt, squirt, squirt. And
exactly.
Then move on to the next one. And I thought that was super cool. And this giant of a guy I was fighting fire with. I was just oh. This guy knows what he's doing.
Pulaski in one hand and Honda pump in the other.
Yeah, that's pretty
You're
cool.
a fucking hero.
Yeah, I was good lord. And I'm just trying to dig up the tundra, and it's
yeah.
mats, it's all matted.
That
so
shit sucks.
Yeah, it's not good. But then walking, I got let out a little far out, so I had to walk back to where everyone else landed, and I'm going across the everyone calls it the mattress tundra. It's a waterbed, and it is seriously strange, man. You're walking across what would be almost like a lily pad, it feels so weird.
Wow,
feeling.
You feel like you're gonna fall through?
Yeah, kind of. And then it's just the way it moves, you definitely can tell you're on some kind of water, and you have 110 pounds because I put all my jump gear and fire gear into my pack out bag so I could catch up to everybody else. So I got this giant pack on, and then I just keel over once I get to where everybody else is. I'm too tired to take my pack off, and then everyone's talking to somebody in the trees, and I'm looking what is that? is the fire right there? I'm just gonna burn. Whatever. I was over at that point. I'm just lay here.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll get up in a couple minutes. Just leave me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it'll just go over the top of me.
Did you guys encounter permafrost when you were up there?
Oh yeah. So that's like the Alaskan cooler.
Yeah.
You know about that?
Where you dig a hole in the permafrost and then that's your fridge?
With a chainsaw.
Oh, fuck that. I wouldn't want to sharpen that chain afterward. But.
No, yeah. Yeah, definitely not me either.
Yeah.
So you guys were digging a hole to do it, huh?
So you can do that kind of shit for a fridge if you need one. We didn't. If it's that cold, you just put your shit on the ground.
Oh, true, yeah. It is cold.
If you run into permafrost, the ground is frozen, like damn near year-round or year-round.
Yeah.
And we were doing just like a training exercise where we're creating counter mobility, like obstacles. So like shit to trip your enemy up, or like what's called like an 11 row where you put like a bunch of concertina wire in a big line, and like vehicles can't drive through it, troops can't walk through it without getting cut to ribbons, shit like that. Yeah. And that kind of stuff out there. But to do that, you have to like pound pickets into the ground to make sure that concertina wire doesn't go anywhere through fucking ice.
Yes,
Come on, man.
Solid. Oh, dude, that'd be work, man.
My poor 19-year-old dumbass self was out there just trying to get a picket in the ice. And yeah, that was like probably one of the most miserable times of my life.
Yeah, practice mental toughness, though.
Oh my god, yeah. Setting up tents, same thing. You got to put stakes like into the ice. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So we finally wised up, and what we would do is we wait for it to get like, because it's 20 degrees during the day when we're trying to chip through fucking ice to put tent poles up and like tent stakes.
Yeah.
We finally started like chipping out a little hole, like a bowl of ice out of the ground, just putting the stake in there, pulling the rope tight, and then pouring water in it. Oh. And it would freeze so quick that you could just done.
Jeez, that's super smart.
It was It was so frustrating, like getting to that point, though.
Yeah, I bet. And it's so weird, right? It's like being on a different planet, like doing that kind of stuff, and you're out in the middle of nowhere, probably like we were. Like when they first showed me the Alaskan cooler, like, want to learn how to make one? Like, sure. And I'm thinking, like, I'm gonna have to chop at the ground forever.
Sure.
And this guy just fires up the chainsaw, cuts a cube out, and then lifts it up, like just like the top of a cooler, and then he like dug it out a little bit, and it worked awesome because after 3 days. I know it's the way down here, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. Like the food boxes out of a jump plane is usually 3 days worth of food, 72 hours. Mm-hmm. And then check my math on that. Yeah. But yeah, so then you get the fresh food drop, which is typically awesome steaks, like tons of them. So we had like more steaks than we needed. So we just
badass.
Yeah, line that Alaskan cooler to keep them good, Yeah. And then every night you pop the top off the cooler, and whatever needs chilled is in there, just great. We were just living on steaks. It was amazing.
Oh, that sounds fucking awesome.
Yeah, like the last night we were going to leave, and there's only going to be one guy kind of just being a point of contact with that fire, and he was only going to spend maybe a couple more shifts. So, like, he had enough food for him, and then we had, like, 3 steaks each. So I was like, yep, let's get after this. Separate the men from the boys here.
See if I don't throw this up and then take a giant shit later.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was just like a bear, just, like, bellied up next to the fire after my third one. Like, oh, God. So good, though.
Right?
Yeah. And that was, what years were you up there?
Oh, man. Let's see. 2011, 2012 to 2014 or 15.
Oh, so you spent some good time up there, man.
Yeah, it's on the lower side of that for sure, because I was only in for 4 years, but most of it was spent in Alaska.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, so you got some experience up there. Like, I think anyone could survive a winter, up there. Like, you just kind of get through it, like, your first time, and you're like, all right, that was one time. But if you're up there for a few, I mean, for you to be like, I like snow still, is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things that I got used to. Survive is definitely like a fair word. Just like that tent shit, that was midwinter up there, which sucked. And then the next night of that, like,
it's not very light, right? Like, you're not getting very many hours of sunlight, right?
No, but it's like field survival training for Alaska, which sucked.
Yeah,
because it's -20 and shit like that, which is miserable.
Yeah,
and the next night, you're not sleeping in a tent out there. You're sleeping in a snow cave that you have to build.
Ooh.
Yeah, like you and your buddy have to go build a little snow cave, whether that you can dig it into the snow or, like, cut down a couple trees and, like, put up a little lean-to and, like, cover that in snow. That shit sucks.
That sounds brutal, man.
That's a long night.
Yeah, I wouldn't. You stayed in yours all night and were fine? Did you sleep at all?
Yeah, I got a couple hours.
Good, man.
I mean, it wasn't the best sleep of my life, that's for sure.
Dude, I bet.
And my best buddy, he tore.
Besides Tyrel. I got your back.
No, I got like my army buddies, and then I got my fire buddies, and you know how all that shit works.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. I was just teasing you.
yeah, my buddy, he had torn his ACL, MCL, and like a partial tear in his PCL.
Jeez.
Something. It was a really, really bad accident that he had, and he had to have like 2 different surgeries just to get it all repaired, and then the recovery time was just abysmal. So this dude was still in recovery when we had to do that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, dude, this is going to suck, but I'm going to dig this hole. You just lay down in the hole, and I'm going to build a snow cave around you, and then I'm just going to have to, like, try to snuggle in when it's all built.
Yeah. Oh, it's brutal, man. He just got to trust you. Like, don't bury me.
Please don't bury me. Yeah. That poor dude was miserable, too. Like, it sucked. But, yeah, we made it through the night just kind of hanging out. I did that training a couple times up there, and, yeah.
Dang, man. Yeah, that's tough, dude. I couldn't imagine. We did something like that in Boy Scouts, but like we didn't have to sleep in there if we didn't want to. So I don't think anyone did. You know, we're like,
This is cool, but fuck this.
Yeah, exactly. I built mine the opposite way because it was kind of cool because they're just like, all right, you know, we're doing our own little like, you know, winter survival training, and you know, to make yourself a little ice cave or shelter.
Yeah.
And I think only a couple people did it right, where you're supposed to build it up so like the cold air goes out, right, or something. I can't remember why you build it up, but.
Kind of igloo shaped.
Yeah, and
right.
I built mine down because like all the cold air will settle down. You know,
Oh.
instead of like I think one of the thoughts were like if you build it up like on a ramp into a flat spot, cold air should go down, or any kind, or if, like water,
right,
that might be coming from your heat will go out instead of pooling with you. And mine was all down. We had a little hobbit cave, and I thought it looked cool, but it was not functional.
Yeah, cold.
Yeah, I probably woke up
cold in here,
froze to the ground. Yeah. So what from here on, you guys are just kind of doing lookouts until you guys get into another career, and then maybe come back and retire into a lookout position.
Yeah.
Oh, I could totally see myself. Yeah, doing this in retirement.
Oh, yeah. I bet, man. Like, yeah. Been talking to the wife a little more about it. You know, I've always liked the lookouts, and that's part of why I named my podcast Lookout Podcast, because I don't want to be like totally fire related, but like this is such a cool symbol of the Forest Service, a lookout tower, and so I was like, yeah, I mean, and especially like this is like kind of the dream is like having something like this where we can sit and talk, in the actual lookout tower, which is like a big studio, especially this one.
Oh yeah.
So that's I always thought they were cool. So eventually, I'd kind of like to go the same path. Is what I guess I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, like we even have lookouts here who have been lookouts for 20 plus years, and like Spot Mountain. If you ever talk to the Spot Mountain lookouts, the most, and they raise their kids up at their lookout.
That's what I heard. Yeah, that's super cool. And then I heard Salmon was like lookout is like on their 51st year as a lookout or something crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, over 50 years as a lookout. Like that is amazing. So I'm hoping to go talk to Salmon one of these nights.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, have you guys ever been up there?
No,
I haven't.
No, me either. And I heard it's a little bit of a hike, but my equipment's heavy enough where it'd be a little bit of a pain, but I don't think it'd be too bad. If nothing else, I'll just bring this guy.
Yeah, right. That wouldn't be so bad.
No, yeah, that's what I was thinking, and just kind of set it up and figure. I gotta get work the kinks out of this thing, so I'm really hoping that we're gonna have decent audio on this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Lean in, buddy.
Yeah, lean in.
Editing can't do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I like that. Well, shoot, boys, I don't want to keep you up too long. I appreciate you guys doing this.
Yeah, thanks for
happy
coming
to,
on,
man.
This is really cool.
Yeah, and do you guys have anything else you want to plug in? I mean, like any social media or anything?
Get your website out there, dude.
My website's down right now, but when it's up, it's getlostimaginations.com.
Getlostimaginations.com?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
awesome, Tyrel.
Photos that I have from the lookout tower,
Photos from Tepee Lookout Tower. Oh, perfect, man.
And you've got some of your writing on there still?
I will have some writing.
We'll have writing. Cool.
Oh, perfect, man.
I'm boring.
Awesome.
I don't have stuff like that.
Nothing yet.
I have a Facebook that I don't look at. Yeah. That's the extent of my social media.
Oh, gotcha. Well, so you can post stuff to Sam Vaughn's
it's
Facebook.
Real fucking boring.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tyrel, your last name again?
Starnes.
Tyrel Starnes.
Yep.
All right. So can people look that up and find anything as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. Starnes, Starns?
N-E-S, yeah.
We say Starnes?
That's correct.
Oh,
There you
perfect. Awesome, man. Yeah, I kind of want to say it in this mic so that comes out clear and hopefully people can understand me. And then for anyone who's listening, I appreciate all of you. Thanks for tuning in, and please subscribe and like if you like what you're listening to, and hope we can keep this going and, maybe get this thing to kind of start supporting itself eventually, and that good stuff. But you guys got anything else?
Let's take another run at this. Let's do a mid-season or something at Tepee, huh?
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up at Tepee.
Oh,
and I mean, shoot, we're getting close to mid-season, so it won't be too far out. And we'll try to figure out.
It's my first week, man.
It's wild though. It's almost July. So, and then what was the one thing we're gonna look at? White ash, right?
Yeah,
Some white ash follow-up.
Yep.
So
Let's figure out how early we're gonna die, huh?
Yeah. So we'll have some bad news on the next one, but yeah.
It's terminal. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So we'll do this for a little while until it kicks in. But thanks for listening, and hopefully you tune back in for White Ash part 2.
Part 2. All right.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.